Alright, well, I'm trying to figure out what to do about the tubing and the connectors and everything else. I'm letting a couple other things dry. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking apart my blocks, hopefully, safely, successfully, and cleaning them, seeing as there was definitely sediment and such built up in there. So I've got my CPU block here. Just got a paper bag for catching any loose liquid, which just happened. It's amazing where it seems to squirrel away, but that just proved the reason to have that. Anyway, so I got to clean off the thermal compound from where it was on the CPU and remove the fittings and then get at the inside. So let's get started, huh? Oh, another segment where you're not going to be able to see my face. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead by cleaning the thermal compound off, and I just use isopropyl alcohol for that and some Q-tips. Some people use cotton swabs. Really, it's kind of your preference. I seem to find that I have better luck with Q-tips. Get that out of the shop. As I end up with less bits of cotton left over. Of course, I might have started with a cotton swab or something, because that's a lot of thermal compound on there. Wonder how much is left on the CPU block, because that's just a ton. Earlier on, I went a little... I did it again. Earlier on, I got a little panicked, because I couldn't even find my Arctic Silver that I use, realizing that I probably was going to have to take the block off completely, or I should at least prepare for that eventuality. I'll just need my thermal compound, and then I couldn't find it. And I knew I'd bought like 5 of those tubes, because I'm always surprised working on somebody's machine at some point. So I always am in need of it, because I got tired of buying one and then just running out. I swear I did not overdo the thermal paste last time. To be honest, last year has been an organizational nightmare. For instance, today, I wanted to be a heck of a lot further along in this, and got a logo project I'm working on for somebody. And I'm just not going to be able to get to today because this has turned into such a fiasco. I got most of that off there. Unfortunately, I managed to spread some onto this fitting here, which I didn't want to do. So now that that's done, I will... Whoa, more liquid came out. Now that that's done, I need to remove these connectors. I'm just stuffing them in this cardboard box along with the tube. Alrighty, so I don't know if you can see it, depending on the lighting here. There's a whole bunch of sediment and everything else on the inside of that block. Now, I need to make sure that it's not built up into the fins or onto the cooling surface. But, I mean, looking at that just in the monitor there, it just looks scuzzy. So, I get to do this very scary thing of take this apart. Because what if I break a seal or lose a piece or who knows what? And because I'm dealing with very delicate metal bits that I don't want to have any corrosion or anything else going on, I'm going to glove up. You might also see a toothbrush here. A glittery, sparkly toothbrush. It's very soft bristled. That's for cleaning in between the little impingement fins, because it's not just, you know, a copper block in there. No, 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 no. It's full of little jet fins on the inside. That's way too large. That's what she said. I'm being a little paranoid here. I've already opened this once before because I had to change the blade that's in the middle that affects where the flow, the incoming flow goes, because I'm using a 2011 version 3 socket type CPU. So the die is bigger, the actual size of the CPU is bigger, and where the cores are placed are bigger, so where the heat's going to hit this is actually in a different location, so you actually want to change... Wow, these gloves might be a little small. You actually want to change how the fluid is hitting this plate. It's supposed to make it more efficient, Now this should separate unless this has been fused. There's still red goop on it. Oh! Oh, there was a leak. There was a leak on the side of the block. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but ignore the drips at the bottom, but right there at the join. Right in there. That was certainly disconcerting. That might be why this is not... Oh, there we go. Coming apart so well. Let's see how bad... Oh! Oh, yeah. That whole thing needs to be cleaned. That's just a problem. And even the connector plate here is disgusting, where it's leaked out there. Ugh, the whole inside is just one sticky. And here's that blade I was talking about. Somehow it has bowed. I wonder if the pressure is just too much. It looks like a razor blade, and it's shaped definitely like a razor blade, and it's very much as thin as one. But that's what's supposed to force the liquid in that way, in a much more narrow jet than the standard opening there. Balls, 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 balls. On the metal components, I should very much be able to use the isopropyl, but this... And unfortunately, I'm out of sealed distilled water, so I'm going to have to pick up some more. See if there's any other recommendations as to what to use to clean that. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and start cleaning off some of this gunk. Oh, that's light years better already. Oh, that's disgusting. What the heck happened? I'm gonna have to check around the CPU on the motherboard just to make sure that there weren't any leaks or anything. Should have brought a trash bag. Shoulda, woulda, couldas. There's just been a whole ton of that, this whole procedure. So this is definitely gonna have to get rinsed with distilled water. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit of alcohol in there. Oh yeah, I see why they recommend that. That works very nice. It does spray it around a bit. It makes the toothbrush look like it's dealing with some bloody gums. But it is getting in between those fins. Now the last water loop I worked with, I didn't end up having to do this. I wonder why this has become some... And now I read so many more times of people having to do this. Usually the only time... Well, I don't know, 10 years ago? Yeah, probably about 10 years ago, last time I did a water loop. Usually the only time I really saw anybody having to clean out this way, you know, they didn't put biocide in, they were using distilled water, so you had algae build up. Or they mixed metals, so you had corrosion, which quite often is more of a killer than the gunk. Or dyes weren't nearly as good back then. They broke up very easily. I mean, I did have a whole lot of sediment build up in my PA 103. What was it? PA 1.3. Trying to remember the model number, but it was a triple PA thermochill radiator, which was like the top radiator you could have at that time. And I had it mounted on the outside of my case. I'll have to see if I can find a photo and add it here of that old water cooling rig. An old Antec case, back when Antec cases looked like little mini servers. Actually, not too different than this case that I'm using these days, but still, like the P180. If any of you tech heads out there know what I'm talking about, the old P180 cases, or at least that style. While we're here, let's go ahead and clean off the bracket here, which I still don't... I'm really worried that leaked. Yeah, I mean, you can tell from the color. That is from the coolant that I used. So maybe I didn't screw it down tight enough. Maybe there's a problem with the O-ring. I don't know. Yeah, that's on both sides. Let me take the O-ring off. Because it's... Oh, it's all sticky. Can I even remove? Yeah, good. It's all built up in there. At least it seems to easily come out like that. That's a good sign. Agitate a little bit. I don't remember exactly the best stuff to use to clean out the acetal, or the plexiglass, or whatever they want to call it. Because, you know, in my general experience, clear plastics like this, when you introduce alcohol into them, they cloud. You don't want to do that sort of thing, especially if you want to keep the looks. If you want to keep it so that you can look down into it and see the coolant moving around, if you want it that cool. I mean, if I didn't want that, I would have just gotten a black top. Or a completely nickel one. Now, because of all this buildup that I'm seeing in all the blocks and everything, I am most definitely going to be flushing the entire loop. Everything that I can. Oh, great. How was that? Oh, balls. There. It's gotta be it. I didn't even know that part came apart. I missed the D-Tech Fusion. It was very simple. I'm dating myself again. Let's see what comes off the O-ring. I'm guessing greasy, nasty mess. Alright. Moving on to the next step. I've got to separate out these video cards from the liquid coolers without damaging the video cards. I'm thinking the best way to tackle this, to keep the PCBs safe, is to have it standing like this. And here's that nasty, nasty fitting where it was definitely leaking. Now what I'm going to try to do is go ahead and remove this. Wow. Well, maybe that had something to do with it. This is completely not screwed in. This is loose. It's either worked its way loose or I goofed when putting this together. Now, it is on the opposite side, but I guess that could have created a bad connection. To be fair, I was in a bit of a rush last year. To be fair, again, I'm in a bit of a rush now because I want to get back up and running and actually doing this thing that I really enjoy and I'd like to make a go at. Now I'm going to have to hold this stable while I remove these last two because these cards are, these are 1080 Ti's, Founders Editions. I don't want them damaged. They are not, especially with Bitcoin miners right now, they are not cheap to replace. Okay. Now, they do have shrouds, so I can't afford the liquid to get inside. So these are going to be, oh, there's definitely liquid left in that one. So where's my bucket? The absolute tragedy would be to go through all of this and find out during all of this nightmare that something fried. But as you can see, inside, maybe not from the glare, due to the glare, but inside, it's full of gunk. And gunk reduces cooling. I'm gonna have to take this whole top off and clean the block without damaging the video card inside. I may just, for safety's sake, take the whole thing apart, take the back plane off first, and then I can remove the entire water block. Again, the only problem with that is, if I remove all that, I've got thermal conducting pads that are stuck to all this, and I don't have replacements. This is... This one is just as bad, if not worse. Where's all that liquid coming from? In the screw hole? It's just an artifacting of the light, because I'm seeing this up here. I don't know if that shows up. I'm worried that's leaking in between. I'm going to let these dry. There's nothing more I can do in the interim. So while the video cards here are drying, I'm going to go ahead and drain these radiators and such, blow out the rest of the case, and decide what I want to do about the video card blocks, do a little research on the best way for me to clean the plexiglass or the acetal. Again, whatever they want to call it. see if this is even. I'll have to clean this off and then probably put it in its own little loop and see if it leaks. If it does leak, I'll change this fitting out, the angled one that was all gross, or still is all gross. If that solves, see, it's leaking out the bottom. Oh, well, of course it would. That's where a video card used to be. Anyway, that gets to stay for a bit while I work on the rest of this stuff. More stuff I didn't want to have to order. I already ordered some stuff that apparently went missing. Should arrive tomorrow. We'll see. But anyway, that ends day 1.5. I'm gonna get draining. And yeah, think about my life.